Hello, I'm here with Marc Seale, Chief Executive and Registrar of the Health and Care Professions Council, the HCPC. We're here today to talk to him about the changes in the regulation of social workers in England and what they now need to do in order to practice. Hi Marc, I'd like to begin by asking you how the changes in social work regulation came about.
Well, back in July 2010, government published a report. It made a number of recommendations. The recommendations were that the General Social Care Council, who was the regulator, should be more independent of government, and also that it should be self-financing. So the decision was made to abolish the regulator. The legislation took some time to go through Parliament, but in spring of this year the decision was made, the legislation went through, and the register has been transferred over to my organisation, and the GSCC has now been abolished.
How does the HCPC regulate professionals?
We approve the university programmes so that when the individuals graduate they meet what we call our standards of proficiency and they can join the register. Once they're on the register, we require them to undertake what's called continuing professional development, or CPD, to make sure that they keep up to the standards throughout their careers. And finally, in a very small number of cases, when the professionals or registrants don't meet our standards, we can run tribunals and remove those individuals from the register. And in that way we protect the public.
What do social workers need to do now in order to renew their registration?
We have written to all the social workers on our register, social workers in England, and we've given them information of how to renew their registration. What they can do is go onto our website and they have to then fill in a declaration. They then have to make a payment and their registration will be renewed.
If they don't wish to renew online, is there any alternative?
Absolutely. They can either telephone the registration department and we will send them a form, or indeed you can actually go onto the website. Personally, I would encourage everybody to use the online system because it's much quicker and you get that information back to you instantaneously.
When do they need to renew their registration by?
Everybody must renew their registration by 6 o'clock in the evening on the 30th of November of this year.
What happens if a social worker fails to renew by 6 p.m. on the 30th of November?
If someone fails to renew their registration, then they're lapsed off the register, they come off the register. And the consequences of that person should not continue to practice. They then can apply to come back onto the registration, but that process is quite complicated. There's information on our website, so we really would encourage everybody to renew their registration on time.
How much does it cost to renew your registration?
It's £152 for 2 years.
And how can you pay?
Well, you can pay by two ways. You can pay by cheque for £152, all the money at once, or you can pay by direct debit every 6 months, and that is £38. And we would strongly encourage people to pay by direct debit in that, first of all, it spreads the payments, which is very useful, but also it's much more reliable and it keeps our costs down, which is very important.
Have existing direct debit mandates been transferred across?
Yes, all the direct debits have been transferred across from the GSCC.
How can you check if a social worker is HCPC registered?
Yes, there are two ways that you can check to see if somebody is on the register. You can go onto our website and you can check on our online register. Secondly, you can phone our registration department and they will tell you if somebody is on the register.
Do the HCPC standards for continuing professional development, CPD, differ to the previous system of post-registration training and learning, the PRTL? And if so, how?
Our system, our process of CPD gives a lot of responsibility to the professionals we regulate, and they essentially decide what sort of CPD activities they're going to undertake. Now, it's not one that is based on hours or it's based on points. What the individual has to do is keep a record of the CPD activities that they've undertaken throughout a 2-year period. Then when we renew the registration, we randomly audit 2.5% of registrants. When we do that, they have to provide us with certain information related to the CPD activity that they've undertaken. All social workers who are on our register must continue to undertake CPD activities, but the audit itself won't take place for another 2 years. That is September 2014.
Well, thank you for your time, Marc. If you had one final message for social workers in England, what would it be?
Yes, a very important message, renew your registration. Do it as soon as possible. Please don't leave it to the last moment. And if you have friends or colleagues who are also social workers, get the message to them, renew your registration now. It's very important. We want to make sure that you remain on the register.
Social workers in England can get in touch with HCPC if they have any further questions about their registration. You can visit the HCPC website at www.hcpc-uk.org or email us at registration@hcpc-uk.org or call 0845 300 4472.